Title: The Loop in the Light. 1. Establish the protagonist in their comfort zone. Jack was a gifted pianist and a meticulous sound engineer. His apartment, a serene studio of musical gadgets and precisely alphabetized vinyls, was as clean as a showroom. But Jack wasn't merely organized, he was ruled by rituals. Every morning, he washed his hands exactly 12 times, each accompanied by a silent prayer.
They call it quirky, neat and clean, but no one sees the war in me. Obsessions rising like a flood, compulsions just to feel enough. What if I let go even once? What if I stayed when fear runs?
His blinds had to be tilted at the exact same angle. If not, his day would spiral. To outsiders, Jack seemed disciplined. To Jack, he was at war with invisible forces. Obsessions whispered constantly, "Check the locks again. What if you left the stove on? What if that thought you had meant something evil?"
No more hiding, no disguise, just me standing in the light. It's not perfect, but it's mine. This fragile, trembling climb. I'm not cured.
2. Something isn't quite right. It wasn't just exhausting, it was suffocating, and Jack was growing tired of his own mind. Grace, a compassionate counselor and friend from college, noticed the signs. During one of their meetups at a quiet cafe, she asked gently, "Jack, have you ever heard of OCD?" He froze. "You mean, like, people who line up pencils?" He chuckled nervously. "Not quite," Grace replied, and slid a printout across the table.
To clean the stain, just presence in the quiet pain. Grace reminds me I'm still whole, even when I lose control. This battle's mine, but not alone. Healing is a softer tone. There's a ladder built from fear. Every rung is soaked in tears.
3. The hero enters an unfamiliar situation. The sheet outlined the definition of obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD. OCD is a mental health disorder that affects people of all ages and walks of life, and occurs when a person gets caught in a cycle of obsessions and compulsions. Jack read further. Obsessions. Unwanted, intrusive thoughts, images, or urges that trigger intensely distressing feelings. Compulsions. Behaviors an individual engages in to attempt to get rid of the obsessions and/or decrease distress. It was like looking into a mirror. "This is me," he whispered. Grace nodded. "There's hope, Jack. It's called cognitive behavioral therapy, specifically ERP.
I'm still becoming me.
Four. Trials, learning, preparing for change. Jack began therapy. His therapist, Dr. Lee, introduced him to exposure and response prevention, ERP, a gold standard treatment. Dr. Lee explained, "We'll slowly expose you to your fears, without allowing the compulsion to follow. That's how your brain learns you're safe." Jack gulped, but agreed. They created his exposure hierarchy.
It's never gone. They call it quirky, neat and clean, but no one sees the war in me. Obsessions rising like a flood, compulsions just to feel enough. What if I let go even once? What if I stayed when fear runs? They say there's therapy, a way to
Exposure hierarchy.
So I breathe and make it real. One step freer, though my hands still shake. One thought clearer, though my heart still breaks. No more hiding, no disguise, just me standing in the light. It's not perfect, but it's mine. This fragile, trembling climb. I'm not cured, but I believe. Every fear I face, I leave one step freer. Pages filled with words I fear. I read them slowly, shed the tears. No ritual to clean the stain, just presence in the
Every session, Jack faced a fear. At first, he panicked. He wanted to scream, to wash, to fix. But with Grace cheering from the sidelines and Dr. Lee guiding him, he sat with the discomfort.
This battle's mine, but not alone. Healing is a softer tone. There's a ladder built from
5. The hero gets what they wanted, but at a cost. He cried after step 4. The intrusive thought had clawed at his mind. He didn't perform a ritual. He felt like a monster. But then, nothing bad happened. A week later, he tried it again. And something changed.
I'm not the thoughts that spin around, not just habits breaking down. I'm the silence after screams. I'm the space between extremes. One step free.
6. The hero pays the price and grows. His anxiety lessened. Jack slowly saw that the loop wasn't as tight. He no longer needed to wash his hands after touching his studio door. He even let Grace straighten a crooked album cover on his shelf without flinching. He began sleeping better. He started composing again. One afternoon, he played an imperfect melody for Grace. It wasn't flawless, he said. No, she smiled, but it was beautiful.
Becoming me, one step freer.
7. Comeback changed. At an OCD awareness seminar, Jack stood in front of a room of strangers. My name is Jack, and I have OCD, he began. But OCD doesn't have me. He talked about the cycle, the hell of obsessions, the rituals that stole his time and joy. And then he talked about ERP, about fear, about courage. He showed them his old exposure chart. He ended with, recovery isn't perfect, but it's progress, and in that progress, there is hope.
Obsessions rising like a flood, compulsions just to feel enough. What if I let go even once? What if I stayed when fear runs? They say there's therapy, a way to heal, so I breathe and make it real. One step free.
8. New equilibrium. Jack still hears the whisper sometimes. But now, he answers it with strength. Grace joined him on stage and hugged him. You broke the loop, Jack. He smiled, tears in his eyes. No, Grace, I walked through it, and found the light.
This fragile, trembling climb, I'm not cured, but I believe. Every fear I face, I leave one step freer.
The end.